songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I think that you have to learn how to read each personality. You cannot supervise people exactly the same. Each individual is different. I think that I've been very successful at this. You have to understand people's strengths and weaknesses, be able to assist them in their weakness wherever you can to make sure that they're prospering and being a great Parks and Rec professional.
All right, we are live again, holiday edition. For those of you that are not hibernating, we have a special guest from Jackson County, Missouri, Tina Spano, who is coming to visit New Orleans here soon,
Yep.
I think. So seeking warmer weather. But how are you doing today, Tina?
I'm doing terrific. Thanks for asking, Craig.
All right, so we're going to play a little promotion for Outdoor Link. They are one of our earliest sponsors of this, of the Daily Parks and Rec Show. They really took a chance on us when we were pretty much just getting it going. I had worked with them. They're one of these cool vendors that is helping Parks and Rec departments become smart cities. So if you want to flip your city off and on, everything from water fountains to sports fields to bathroom door locks, from a cell phone or an iPad while you're sitting on the beach, instead of having to get out of bed and turn those lights off, they'll help you do it. So we'll play this little promo for them. And then after that, I'm going to play a promotion for House Strategic Partners, which we've got quite a list of strategic partners that are coming on board in 26. So looking forward to that. We'll play this and we'll come back and start our conversation with Tina.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly. From lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Update digital displays in real time. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. And even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens, all from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product? Growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right. So back with Tina. How's it going over there in Jackson?
It's just going great.
Yeah. Let's go back to kind of who you were when you were in high school and college. Were you into sports? Did you grow up in Parks and Rec, or you kind of discovered it later in life? Or
Oh, I definitely grew up in Parks and Recreation around the Kansas City, Missouri Parks and Recreation Department.
Mhm.
As a young kid, grew up with swimming lessons and outdoor playground events at our Sunnyside Park, which was just about 2 miles from our house.
Hmm. So you would you consider yourself a park rat? Just grew up living in Parks and Rec, doing all the things that Parks and Rec kids do.
I definitely would. I've been called a gym rat all my life. Sports was really my favorite thing growing up. As a kid, even at as early as 5 years old, I was in the backyard playing football with all the boys in the neighborhood. So yeah, I'm definitely a gym rat or a park rat. Can't get enough sports.
Yeah, and I think the park rats make the best Parks and Rec professionals because they used it and grew up in it, and now they're kind of leading the charge here in the Parks and Rec community. Um, what sports were you playing?
Well, my favorite sport was softball. I grew up playing softball competitively my entire life into college, but I was also a volleyball player. And when I had the chance, I played a lot of flag football, also on the competitive level. So those are my three main sports.
Now, flag football seems to be really blowing up recently. What do you think is the kind of cause of that, especially a female flag football? I see a lot of that.
Well, I think the main reason that we're seeing the rise of flag football is because of all of the concussions that we've seen in youth football. And so, kids want to play football. Girls want to play football. And for that to happen, the rise of flag has come about. I've run flag football leagues in the Kansas City metropolitan area for close to 30 years now, and they're extremely popular. They were when they weren't popular as in today. And it gives our kids that maybe are a little undersized an opportunity to play, something that they love watching on television. And then it also gives girls the opportunity to get engaged with the game of football on a competitive level.
Hmm. Yeah. And so is there any, do y'all offer anything over there in your
At
parks?
Jackson County Parks Plus Rec, where I'm currently employed, we do not have any flag football leagues that we run in-house, but we do have several leagues that utilize our fields. We rent our fields out to them, and they offer that to boys and girls of all ages.
Nice.
Mhm.
Now, did you when you went to college, did you receive any degrees in Parks and Recreation?
My bachelor's degree is in physical education.
Mm,
Initially, I thought that was my path. I would become, a physical education teacher. I have a degree K through 12 from University of Missouri, and but then I went and student taught, and it
uh,
just didn't click for me. And so I immediately entered graduate school and got my master's in athletic and sports business administration, and that's really propelled me into the Parks and Rec field. Just because a lot of my classes at the university were in the under the recreation umbrella, so that's sort of where I got the energy to go into it.
yeah. And what was your first, I guess, official job in Parks and Recreation?
Well, my first official job was as a recreation programmer, just an entry level programmer, where I was responsible for the organization administration of youth soccer leagues and volleyball leagues, basketball leagues, all the typical youth activities that are out there. Eventually started, like I mentioned already, the flag football leagues, managed concession stands. We have some beaches that I manage, so the whole realm. But I was a recreation programmer.
Mm. Now, were there? I know a lot of people think when it comes to programming in Parks and Rec, they think exclusively sports, but there's really so many other things that are offered. What are some examples of programming that you've seen and maybe even participated in?
Well, I'm very, very proud of my opportunity to program for our special population services. And that is a program that we offer here at Jackson County for anyone 16 years of age and older with developmental or intellectual disabilities. And we offer an entire gamut of opportunities for them, whether it be sports related, or we have dances, we have arts and crafts, we have gardening. We take them on, socialization trips. A lot of the people that participate in our program athletically have traveled the world, participating in athletic events, whether it be Special Olympics or something different, wheelchair games or whatnot. So that is one of the things that a lot of recreation professionals don't get involved in because their departments don't offer it. Us as a county department, we offer that, and it assists all of our city park and recreation departments in serving their people and their communities in offering those activities for special needs folks.
Yeah. Now, tell me more about do you have like public gardens? Because I noticed that seems to be taking off a lot everywhere. There seems to be a lot of public gardens on park property and stuff.
There are, it's just so popular to get, people engaged in gardening. And we have senior gardens. And so we have plots that seniors can register for. And I think they pay like $10 a year, because a lot of seniors are now living in apartments, but they still want a garden. So they can rent a plot from us, and they can come in and plant their garden. And we provide them with water, and we put up a fence around it so that the deer can't get in, that kind of thing. But it's on their own. They get to garden what they want, harvest what they want, and share what they want. The same with our Special Population Services gardening program. We have several different planter boxes that accommodates their needs, whether they're in a wheelchair or they can stand, or just sit down in a chair next to the box, just based on their capabilities. And what's really cool for them is that they plant, they weed, they harvest, and they cook. We teach them how to use those items that they're harvesting to make meals out of.
Nice. Now, one of my daughters recently had a little Down syndrome baby, and she lives in the Dallas metro area. And I'm just shocked at all the programming they offer for parents and Down syndrome. Do y'all have anything like that going on in your area?
Absolutely. We serve a very large population of adults with Down syndrome. And what's really neat is that we are a supplement to their employment. So a lot of the socialization skills that they learn within our programming is carried over into where they're working. And so we work very closely with a lot of those employers to make sure that we're, serving that person and providing them with the life skills that they need through our programming. And, in today's day and age, a child with Down syndrome, they've got all the advantages that any child out there has. I've got 3 cousins with Down syndrome, and each one of them has been mainstreamed into regular classrooms, and they have prospered. They do outstanding. They are working, you don't even think about it anymore that they have Down syndrome. It's just, they're another person working in a space or recreating in a space just like anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And they are little bright lights. If I ever come back, I want to come back as a Down syndrome kid, because they seem to just have the best life and they just have a blast the whole time.
That's great.
All right. So now, what did you do after programming? What was your next step?
My next step after programming was I became a supervisor, and basically took over the supervision of the recreation division within the department I was working at the time, which was the City of Gladstone Parks and Recreation. And so my career is 35 years old at this point. I started where I'm at right now at Jackson County Parks Plus Rec. I was there for 4 years. Left there for more opportunity with the City of Gladstone Parks and Recreation, 19. years. And now I'm back at Jackson County, and I've been there for 12 years. And so I've basically, since 2006, have been a supervisor of some sort until now, where I'm a deputy director.
Now, what's the story behind the Plus Rec? What were y'all thinking there? I know that was somewhat of a
Well,
little marketing thing. What
it
you say?
is. Yeah. So that happened probably around 15 years ago. Jackson County Parks Plus Rec, renamed themselves. It was a marketing tool to separate ourselves from all the different cities that are providing parks and recreation programming. And so the rebranding really stuck. And we have such a different array of recreational opportunities that we offer compared to the cities, because we have lakes. We have 4 lakes that we manage, and 21,000 acres of land. We're the largest park system in the state of Missouri. And I believe we're either the 3rd or 4th largest county park system in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so the rebranding was basically just an opportunity to separate us from the rest of the crowd.
Mm. Now, what were some of the early skills that you feel like you had to develop when you moved from a programmer to a supervisor?
Well, I think that you have to learn how to read each personality. You cannot supervise people exactly the same. Each individual is different. And I think that I've been very successful at this. You have to understand people's strengths and weaknesses and be able to assist them in their weakness wherever you can, to make sure that they're prospering and being a great Parks and Rec professional. And so I think that was probably one of the number one things I had to learn. Another thing I needed to learn was about discipline. And, discipline's not easy, because most of the time when you're working in Parks and Recreation, you really enjoy the people you're working with, and you have a lot of great people surrounding you. But sometimes things go awry. You do have to provide some discipline. And so you have to somewhat keep yourself separated from the people that you supervise, but, in order to, make sure that goes well. But, it was a very smooth transition, and I've been supervising people, basically my entire career, because of, seasonal workers and umpires, referees, that kind of thing. But after, once I became a supervisor of full-time associates, then it really did change for me.
Now, were there any resources or books, or is it mostly just on-the-job training, or how did you kind of pick up those skills?
We have a great organization in the Kansas City metropolitan area called the Mid-America Regional Council. And they provide a ton of leadership classes and opportunities, and I've taken advantage of those over the years. I did complete their leadership academy back in, I think it was around 2000, probably about 2010 or so. And really reaped a lot of leadership experience from participating in that. And then we have, at the county, we do a lot of leadership training for our supervisors, and I take part in that every year just to keep my skills sharp.
Now, how was that structured? Was that kind of like online stuff, or you would attend classes?
Yes, we attended classes. Mid-America Regional Council, they teamed up with Kansas University KU, and we had a professor from KU that came over, and he taught the classes. It was a 6-month class, and so we were in class basically once a week for 6 months, and really got engaged in this. And I can't say that I didn't. I needed to, what I needed to learn, I learned in that class. It was outstanding.
What were some of the topics that they covered?
Well, we talked about anything from how to recruit good associates, how to, we also worked on budgeting and marketing. That was a huge deal in this class. A part of it was how to deal with difficult customers and difficult associates. So those were some of the highlights of that class, and it just really was very well-rounded and hit on everything that you would think is necessary for someone learning good leadership skills.
Hmm. Now, one thing I don't know if I've showed you our essential services video that we made for the industry. One of the topics that I guess we're encouraged to talk more about is that you remember during COVID how Parks and Rec was kind of fighting for its life because it was considered non-essential. Uh, but then we quickly learned how essential it was
Yes.
after they all got defunded and shut down and stuff. But I'd like to play this little 2-minute video for you and then get your feedback on it and maybe your testimony about why Parks and Rec is an essential service in your mind.
Okay.
Right.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present. Parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right. So, and by the way, that video is for free. We don't copyright it or anything. I'm hoping that it's played before anybody in charge of budgeting for Parks and Rec, that you can kind of reframe the conversation. But any feedback on that or thoughts around it?
It was fantastic, number one. Okay, because it hit all those special things that Parks and Recreation provides. While I was watching it, I jotted down several things. Mental health, obviously, is extremely important. Whether it be, participating in a group, or again, walking on the trail, visiting one of our outdoor beaches at one of our lakes, reading a book under a tree, just, clearing that mind. Socialization. We've already talked about this with our Special Population Services Division, but also any kids that are out there needing something more than just sitting at home and watching TV and meeting new friends. So important. Teamwork. We've all learned teamwork through our participation in Parks and Recreation, whether it be on a basketball team or volleyball team or whatever, working together as a group to, all of our 149 associates in Parks and Recreation that we manage, we're a team. And it's extremely important to learn that, especially as a small child, because wherever you go, you're going to be working in a team environment. Safety. We have a full service parks ranger division within Jackson County. Safety is our highest priority in our parks, because as our director would say, no one is coming to our parks unless they feel safe, our parks are clean, and they feel welcome. And those are three really, really important things. accessibility, self-confidence. We're building self-confidence every day in these kids and adults who come out and participate in our programs. Tourism, we're getting ready. We are so lucky here in the Kansas City metropolitan area that we are hosting 6 games for the World Cup. And tourism is at the forefront of our mind right now. We are creating all sorts of stuff for the World Cup coming up, recreational packages for people that are visiting. We are, we are very busy in regards to that, working not only amongst ourselves within our own department, but with other departments throughout the metropolitan area. The economics of it. In a year, we raise over $8 million in fees, in user fees. That's a lot of money, and it funds our department. It helps fund our department, and so the economics of it is huge. And it also the economics of us as recreation professionals organizing events, whether it be a swim meet or a softball tournament, and whatever there is. We're bringing people into our communities who are going to buy gas and groceries, stop at the, at the convenience store, that type of thing. So economics is a major factor. The other one thing, the last thing I want to hit on there is the natural resource management. Because we have 21,000 acres of land that we manage in 4 lakes, natural resource management is a huge part of our daily task. And making sure that we are taking care of all of our acres of land and providing safe spaces for people to visit all of that area, whether it be on the trails or in the woods, mountain biking trails, things like that. And, we're very, very in tune to the wildlife population that lives on our properties. And so we are very engaged in natural resource management. We work on a daily basis with Missouri Department of Conservation, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, and make sure that everything that we do is safe for our environment.
Yeah. Now, you were a superintendent for a while, weren't you?
I was, yeah. So that's where I started at Jackson County 12 years ago. I was the superintendent of recreation. We have 6 superintendents within our department, and I started out as superintendent of recreation and marinas, and we offered all the recreational activities in the park system from our standpoint, all the ball fields, baseball, softball fields, soccer fields, football fields, the beaches and concessions. Also, special population services was under that umbrella, and then our marina stores.
Now, did you have to learn a lot about, agronomy and tree canopy management or any of that kind of stuff?
I personally did not have to learn a whole lot because I've got such great professionals that specialize in those types of things, that work for our department, that I have depended on their knowledge. And through, going to conferences, going to workshops with them that are put on by vendors and whatnot, I've learned a lot over the years.
Now, have you participated in your state association or NRPA throughout the years?
Yeah, try to make our state association conference every year, and also the national every year, and participate in those. It's definitely training is a priority in Jackson County, and so we are really lucky that our administration, our county manager, and our county executive, that they take that very seriously, and so they place training monies into our budgets to allow us to go to those things.
Yeah. Will you be attending the upcoming one in Philadelphia?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We are definitely looking forward to that. I've never been to Philadelphia.
Yeah, me neither.
So I can't wait for that one because of the opportunity to see Philly. And I'm sort of hoping that I can make a Philadelphia Eagles game while I'm there. I hear it's quite the experience to be in that stadium. They're not friendly to other people, so I won't be wearing any of my Kansas City Chiefs gear that day. But I'd love to experience a Phillies game at some point.
Yeah, well, I'll have to, you have to swing by, or we're going to be attending that. So I'd love to just have you tell us how the convention's going, hopefully how the game went, and
Yeah, love
love to
to.
be a guest on it. Um, okay, well, we're kind of at the halfway point, but when we come back,
Mhm.
I'd love for you to talk about how your parents have supported you throughout all this, because I know it was a big thing for you, and then
Mhm.
also how your dad was a lifetime learner, and maybe how you got some of that. But what we're going to do is we're going to play our. We have two shows. The Young Professionals Network show, which is for young professionals in Parks and Rec. It's moved to Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we're creating a show all about facilities maintenance. So we'll play these two, and then we'll come right back.
Great.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is Facility Maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of Parks and Recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co., where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job, it's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility Maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy. On the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we bring you the real stories of tomorrow's professionals, people shaping the future, one idea at a time. Meet the very first DPRS interns to officially host their own segment, Aidan Tierney and Michael Morrow. With curiosity, passion, and a fresh perspective, they're stepping into the spotlight to lead meaningful conversations with today's rising leaders. The Young Professionals Network takes you inside the journeys, challenges, and major wins of young individuals making their mark across industries. From first jobs to bold ventures, every story fuels growth, ambition, and innovation. Each episode brings real conversations, fresh perspectives, and impactful insights created to motivate the next generation of professionals. Whether you're just starting out, exploring new paths, or figuring out your next move. Tune in to the Young Professionals Network every Thursday at 5 p.m. only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Don't miss it, because your next big idea might be one story away.
All right. So you tell us how your parents were kind of excited and supported you throughout your whole career in Parks and Recreation.
Well, my mom and dad, they have supported all us kids throughout our endeavors. And, when I became a Parks and Rec professional, well, number one, they were very generous in they sent us through college and allowed us to explore what we wanted to do. They never pushed any kind of profession on any of us. And so they knew that I was inclined to be in some form of athletics in my professional career. And when I said, hey, listen, I want to go to graduate school because I'm not certain I want to teach, they were like, let's go. And, if you find a place where you feel comfortable, we'll support you and in any way that we possibly can. And I was very lucky to attend graduate school just 55 minutes from my front door. And my mom and dad, I remember the day they moved me in because I lived at home throughout my undergraduate career. So, they were very excited. They've always been so proud. They're my number one fans. My mom has been gone. She's been dead for 13 years now, but I'm telling you what, she was something else. She always made sure I had everything I needed to be prosperous. And my dad still today, he's 92 years old. And there's just not a whole lot that the four of us kids can do that he's not proud of.
Wow. What,
Mhm.
any secrets to his long life?
I think it has to do with the fact that the example that both of them provided us growing up was that they both loved what they did. They went to work and loved it. So they weren't the ones coming home and complaining over the dinner table. And, my dad worked very hard physically. And I think that, and he was always a very big, strong Italian man, and I think that has helped him throughout his life, and to live to 92. He's very sharp still. He is, I know you mentioned this already, but he's a lifelong learner. And wanted to talk about that. And he still to today sits and reads, and he's on his third iPad. And, he's 92 and works his iPad, and he'll be, this is a perfect example. He's watching a Western. He loves his Westerns, and he'll see an actor and he can't remember the name of the actor. So he'll look up the cast of this Western so he can, read all about it and everything. But he's also the kind that looks up a YouTube video and decides, along with my brother, that they're going to install something at the house on their own. So I've been, introduced to that type of lifelong learning, and have continued to do so myself. There's not a day that goes by that I say that I haven't learned something new. And whether I read it or learn it from someone else, it's just so important to keep your mind fresh, and to stay in tune with what's going on in this world.
Yeah. Shout out to an old mentor of mine. He's passed away, Mr. Brian Harris. But I remember 4 days before he died, he was still working. He kind of like your father, loved his job, and he's like, Craig, you got to read this book I'm reading. And this is 4 days before he passed. Is still just had that passion for learning. Where do you think that comes from?
Well, my dad did not graduate from high school. And he was born in 1933. He went to high school, but he never graduated from high school. And I think he wasn't dumb. He just didn't finish. And I think it's from there. I think that he always wanted to continue, to learn. One of the things about my dad is he is a real conservationist, and he has always been into hunting and fishing, and those are the main things that he does read about, is about hunting and fishing and wildlife and whatnot. And so that's what really makes him happy and engaged. And so he has continued always, to try and learn. But also, I think that he was a lifetime learner because he had to keep up with my mother, who is extremely intelligent, kept him on his toes, didn't let him, take a break. She didn't give us a break. You and I were talking about this a little bit before the show, that, about spelling. And I told you that, I'm so grateful today because my mom never spelt a word for me. She would always make me look it up. I'd say, Mom, how do you spell this? She'd go, you know where the dictionary's at. I'd have to go look it up. She never gave us that pass. Yeah. And I think that's why, we've been successful to today because of that.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? So let's talk about maybe where you see Parks and Rec heading. What are some of the opportunities in Parks and Rec today that maybe people outside of Parks and Rec don't think about?
Well, I don't know if people are thinking about this, but this is a huge subject. It was talked about in several sessions at the national conference, but it's AI. And the effect of AI on Parks and Recreation, and just making it better and easier for the professionals to provide through its assistance. So there's always that. I think that more communities are depending on their Parks and Recreation departments for recreational opportunities for kids after school. There's always that. Looking into the future, I see that a lot more kids are going to be involved at an earlier age because parents are more competitive today. They're wanting their children to, be in that tiny tots, whatever, at 3 years old. And so us as professionals have to figure out not only how to offer those, but how to offer those safely for the kids and not to burn them out.
Right.
that's a big deal. So
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but last week we did a show just on STEM out in let's see, Kenny Michaels is the director over at town of somewhere up in Connecticut, I believe he was. It's Wallingford. And 10 years ago, they started doing STEM classes, and they would bring in like these little robotics that Lego would make, and they basically had these little babysitting classes or
Mhm.
that they would offer for the moms that would be working out, and they couldn't get any attendance. And now the STEM classes are just full. I think they had like 7,000 kids roll through their programs last year. But it just
Wow.
shows like the opportunity that we have to teach things like AI and robotics and engineering,
Mhm.
math. Um,
This past year, Craig, we have a day camp, and each week is a different type of session or experience for the kids. And so I know that the gal that is in charge of organizing all of those different weeks had something to do with robotics and STEM. And so you're right, it is creeping its way into our daily programming.
yeah, yeah. Now, how do y'all use AI? I know there's at least on the media side and content creation, it's just exploding. There's so many powerful tools that we can use to do so much more than we used to be able to do. How are y'all in seeing AI incorporated into your department?
I'm using AI a lot just to for budgeting,
Mhm.
in that if I have a vision of something that we might want to do or purchase, I will AI it and see without talking to a vendor, because sometimes when you start talking to vendors, they expect either to sell that to you or to be the chosen one. And so we have to be really careful in regards to our purchasing rules. And so I've been able to use AI to get some really solid quotes
Mhm.
regarding services and equipment. And also, we do a lot of presentations throughout the community, and I've utilized AI to create those
Mhm.
great presentations. And also, our marketing and special events coordinator uses AI all the time in
Mhm.
creating our scripts for our you know talks, our flyers, anything like that. So it is very useful, and that's mainly how I'm using it so far.
Okay, so let's talk more about the special events or festivals or parades, or what do y'all have going on over there in Jackson County?
Well, on a yearly basis, the biggest thing that we do, it's called Christmas in the Park.
Hmm.
And this is an outdoor Christmas display that runs from the night before Thanksgiving until December 31st. And there's over 175 displays, 2 million lights.
Wow.
It is a generational opportunity for people, where we've got people now, or grandparents, that are now bringing their grandchildren, because they went through it when they were kids, and their kids went through it when they were kids, and now the grandkids are going through it. So it's very generational. And we will host over 300,000 people. It's a drive-through display. We'll host over 300,000 people this year through the display. We've just got a few nights left, but we promise the residents of Jackson County and the Kansas City metropolitan area that the first person that goes through, the last person that goes through, their experience will be absolutely as good as the first person that goes through.
Mm.
And we have crews that work that 7 days a week into the evening, making sure that not one light bulb goes out.
Mhm.
And we are very, very proud of that. That is a huge deal. The night before, that night we open to the public, we have a huge outdoor event called Christmas in the Sky. That's the kickoff, where we have a massive fireworks show, a stage, an entertainment show, vendors, food trucks. We've got about 20,000 people that come out for that
Wow.
event, and it's just a lot of fun. And so
Yeah.
those are two of our big festival type things. But we also have, we have historic sites within our parks department, and we host a what's called the Missouri Town Fall Festival, and it is extremely popular. Over 10,000 people show up in 2 days for that. And then another one is our Dogtoberfest, which is, it's our ode to our little pups.
Yeah.
And everybody brings their dog out. About 3,000 people come out with their dogs. And how it happens, I don't know, but we never have dog fights or anything go wrong. It's just a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I like how you talked about the multi-generational aspect of some of the events that Parks and Rec hosts. Maybe you can speak a little bit to how important it is to those communities, because I mean, a lot of times this is almost like a little family reunion, and they just put it in their schedule, and it's just something they attend.
Absolutely. You know, a couple of years ago, we had a young man reach out to us. And since he was a little boy, his parents had been taking him through Christmas in the Park. And it had become such a family tradition every single year that when he started dating his girlfriend, she entered the picture with them and started going through it. Well, then he decided he wanted to get engaged to her, and he asked for our permission to get engaged at Christmas in the Park. And so we arranged for a private opportunity for them, which is very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
And he proposed to her at Christmas in the Park inside the display. And so that goes to show you the effect that this has on just people in general, but generationally. You know, like I mentioned, we're talking grandparents and, you know, parents who brought their kids, who are bringing their grandkids now. And and people come from all over. We're not just talking the Kansas City metropolitan area. They drive for hours to get there to see it. We've got tour buses that drive through with, you know, senior citizens and nursing homes and, you know, things like that. So it's a huge part of the Christmas tradition in Kansas City.
Yeah. And now, did I hear you right? There's roughly 1.5 million people that kind of use y'all's park system?
Yes, we host about 1.5 million people a year, and because of our rec track, our registration software, we can track where everybody's from. And we have seen over the years, we have been visited by somebody all 50 states. And so that says a lot. You know, if you're coming from Hawaii, and you might have utilized one of our services.
All right. So I wanted you to kind of tell people what your why is. Why have you decided to and continue to dedicate your life to parks and recreation, and almost think that you're giving a testimony in front of a group of college kids that don't really know what they want to do with their life? What would be your testimony as to why they should consider Parks and Rec?
Wow. You know, I think you have to find something that you love to do. If that's going to be what you're going to go do 8 hours a day and spend time away from your family.
Mm-hmm.
My why is I get to offer people in my community in this greater metropolitan area called Kansas City the opportunity to recreate, enjoy the outdoors, stay healthy, become a part of a team, you know, sharpen their skills if they want to become a better golfer. You know, we've got a great golf course, those types of things, but it's my dedication to community. I am rounded by my community. I am, you know, this goes back to my parents, Craig. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kids growing up, we volunteered at church. My dad was in charge of that spaghetti dinner every year that raised money. He was working in the booth at the carnival. Mom was the, you know, Girl Scout leader, volleyball coach, you know, that type of thing. So I got to see that. And as a kid, you don't realize it, but it really makes an impression on you.
Mm-hmm.
And the joy that they found in doing that and serving their community just rolled over into us and as kids and myself. And so I don't think I could do anything that wasn't in a serving type of nature, because it just brings me so much internal happiness and satisfaction. I just love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what people don't think about is a lot of people have to wait till the end of their life before they're giving back to their community and leaving a legacy. But I mean, when you're 20 years old coming into Parks and Rec, you start making a difference, building your community, making a difference from day one. you don't have to wait until retirement. It's almost every day you're giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you get that email, it's just out of the blue. You open it up and it's somebody saying, I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity that you have provided my child, who was, not engaged with a lot of people. They're on a team now. They feel like they're a part of something. Even though their skills might not be that good, they've been accepted. And it's huge, and my work has provided that opportunity and that road to that child's happiness.
Love it. Okay, so we have a little tradition as we're kind of coming towards the end of the show here,
Okay.
where one of my previous guests left a question for you.
Ooh.
And this comes from, and then you'll have to think of a question you want to leave for my next guest. But the question comes from Justin Cutler. He's the Atlanta, Georgia commissioner over there. And he said, his question to you is, in a world of inauthenticity, how can you show up as an authentic person each day?
Oh, he asked the right person that question. I pride myself on authenticity. I never try to be anyone that I'm not, and never will. And I think when you walk into your office every day, people know if you can be trusted or not. And just from the way you treat people, conduct your daily business, and provide a helpful ear, or just step out of your own comfort zone to go help someone that needs it. Just be a good person. Be kind. When someone isn't doing the best job, let's set them down and figure out, how can I help you be better? And that all goes back to that authenticity and just being genuine. And that's what I try to do every single day.
Fantastic. Okay, so what question would you like to leave for my next guest?
Man, you're putting me on the spot here. I think this is a good question because it's relevant and it's important for 2026, as the United States is hosting the largest, athletic event in the World Cup. Ask that next professional what their city is doing to prepare for the World Cup.
We actually shout out to a very frequent guest and close friend of mine, Sebi Ghosh. His city is also hosting, and there's only 6 cities or 12? How many cities are there that are hosting? Maybe
12. 8? I can't remember now. I
Yeah.
just know we're one of them, and we're getting ready.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 in Canada, 2 in Mexico, and the other 8, I think, are in the US. And he was just explaining how much of a huge deal this is, and whereas Americans may not understand it, the global phenomena of what it is. And so, well, I'll ask you that question. What are y'all doing since y'all are being one of the host cities?
Sure. Well, the Kansas City metropolitan area is in a deep level of organization right now. From my perspective, what we are doing as a parks department is marketing all of the amenities that we already have. And so we have 3 campgrounds. We have lakes with, boat rental. We have beaches that people can come to, golf course, athletic fields, just those things that could bring new people into our park. And so we're focusing on those. We're working with Visit KC, which is like the big chamber of commerce in creating marketing materials and to get these things out to people. We're hoping to host several private parties for some of the organizing committee people, because we do have such outstanding areas in our park that we can host these things in. So we're doing that. So we're getting ready on that level. Also, on a metropolitan wide stance, where I literally just met with the Kansas City Police Department, because Jackson County, Missouri, who I work for, is the owner of the Truman Sports Complex, which is where our football and baseball stadium are located at. And the games will be played at GEH Field at Arrowhead Stadium. And so since we own that area, I'm working with the Kansas City Police Department to get them the proper amount of housing that they need while they're there, and utilizing some of our spaces that we have. And then probably the biggest thing that we are preparing for is that we have a 20-mile trail called the Rock Island Corridor. And the Rock Island Corridor literally has a trailhead at Arrowhead Stadium. And so we know that people will be utilizing that trail as transportation to get to the park instead of trying to take a bus, because you can't drive in because of security. And so we are working with all of the different jurisdictions which that trail runs through to make sure that we have safety in mind, and that we're able to accommodate all the people that will be using that trail.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. I can't wait. Okay, so any closing remarks or message to the Parks and Rec community of America?
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you to you, Craig, for hosting me today. And I've had a great time doing this. It's been a blast talking about parks and recreation, perhaps my favorite thing. And I just want to say that this is a wonderful profession. It is it offers the opportunity to be engaged with your community and to make it better every single day in a lot of different ways. And that I would highly encourage any young people out there that are interested in parks and recreation to reach out to a local professional and sit down and talk with them about it. See what it's all about. It's never going to be about the money. It's going to be about the heart and what it does for you as an individual and for the people that you surround.
Yes, love that message. Well, Tina, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And hopefully we get to connect when you come visit New Orleans.
Yeah.
Love our city, and there's always fun times to have here.
Yeah, I will definitely be reaching out to you in just a couple of months.
Yep. Well, thank you for your time today, and have a happy new year.
Thank you. You too.
Take care, Tina.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So that was another great Parks and Rec professional over in Jackson County, Missouri, Parks Plus Rec. Tina's just one of the greats, and really glad to have her on the show. And hopefully when she comes down to New Orleans, we'll be able to visit. So, all right. So we've got a lot of great stuff coming up, wrapping up the end of the year. We've are launching 3 shows. One that we've already kind of soft launched is it's going to be a Tuesday show, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. It's called On the Front Line, the Military Rec Show with host John Prue. And it's just where we highlight what goes on in these essentially Parks and Rec departments on every military base. And so we really wanted to highlight all the great work that they're doing there to prepare our soldiers and kind of give them some R&R and some downtime, and actually keeping them combat ready. So that'll be launching first Tuesday in January and every Tuesday after that. Then we've also, we have another show that's run by Her Sports and Lisa and Jordan Ziff. And it's where she goes back and highlights, actually sits and gives a car ride to the sporting event or practice, and kind of goes behind the scenes, almost like a backstage pass, where you get to see how these professional female athletes are preparing for practice and games and stuff. Really cool concept there. So that's another great show that we're helping to produce. And then with the help of Outdoor Link, we're producing a show called Smart City Show. And it's just where cities are starting to use and incorporate technology to bring the products and services that Parks and Rec brings to its community. And then, of course, the Young Professionals Network is now run by our interns. That's moved to Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So a lot of great stuff. And then we're doing a total rebranding of a lot of the logos and stuff. So all that's kind of in the works real time right now. And you'll start seeing that all populate in the first of the year. So appreciate all the love and support for 2025. It's been a great year, approaching 400 live episodes that we've had with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Appreciate all the support that we've been getting. And also wanted to give a big shout out to Jonathan Skinner, just a great Parks and Rec professional out in California. And hopefully we can have him back on the show and see what the next part of his journey is going to be. All right, that's all I have for y'all today. We'll see y'all here again tomorrow. Y'all take care. Love you guys. Bye.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co. LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.